Forget anything else that is going to cause disagreement. If those four things can be reached as a census for Moors to unify, all right, as soon as the Moor starts coming up talking about, well, the green star is not solid, it's supposed to be an open star. Get out. You're not for unity. Little nitpick stupid stuff. Oh, his fez is green and it's supposed to be red and black fezzes. Oh, get out. Because you're not about unification. So we have to start somewhere. And we've started, which is good. Honors to all the Moors who started. You know what I mean? To exercise unity. Moors who come from wherever they come from to Canaanland for class. Just for class, go back home. 4 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours. All the Moors, when we say we're going somewhere for a lecture, and then Moors jump in their conveyance, jump on plane, jump on train, automobile, or whatever like that, and they come to the lecture, honors to all you Moors for showing unity. Because that is nothing that even supposed to be something we're talking about. But we should have that already. If we got these four things, flag, nationality, right? The works. Brother Phil Brown. I was online the other day and Googled MSTA or Moors in VA. You know anything pertaining to Moors? And next to nothing popped up, but maybe a few old links. So I'm like, damn, how come no one has heard of Taj Tariq Bay, Sabir Bay, or Canaanland Moors? So I'm wondering, when will we have a Moorish presence in VA, Hampton Roads? So when will we have a Moorish presence in VA? When do you become that presence, bro? Because everybody's responsible for their own jurisdiction, to be honest with you. The truth of the matter is, if you're the only Moor, then it's your duty to get to work. And in you doing your work, if you're vibrating on the right frequency, if you're honoring your foremothers and forefathers, you will draw those Moors. Some might be dirty, so don't get too, don't be naive. But you will draw Moors to you who are doing something and they need more hands. And it goes back to that thing about the unity, right? And if there's any Moors in VA, Hampton Roads, email canaanlandguide@gmail.com. 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 If you're near Hampton Roads, VA, send an email so we could contact you or connect you with this brother. So basically, I've been talking to people here about nationality and birthrights, and that how we are not Negroes, Blacks, Colored, African American, etc. And they look at me like I'm crazy or something. So I tried telling them about the whole driver's license mortgage fraud thing, and this sounds like the biggest load of bullshit that's come out of my mouth. So I pulled up a couple of Taj Bay videos, and now it makes sense. Then pulled up a sister, the appellation of Queen Valhara Renita El Hari Bey, And she breaks it down so good, my mother-in-law is now saying she ain't black. I'm a Moor with authority. And it makes me so proud. As a matter of fact, she stayed up till 3 in the morning watching some lecture and kept asking me about these Moorish civic classes and where are the Moors. So, as far as about these Moorish civics classes, all the Moorish civic classes are under some of the people that you mentioned: Tashriq Bey, Nature El Bey, Canaanland Moors, Supreme El, Rami Salam El, Cosmo El, C. Freeman El, Hakim Bey, Alim Bey, you might find a old Sharif Bey on YouTube called Jurisprudence. It's old, looking like a young buck and stuff in there. Yeah, so there's some of those. Where are the Moors? You are where are the Moors. Wherever you're at, that's where the Moors are at. There's no where are the Moors and you're out the window. Where's the how come there's no Moors walking down the street? Because you're not walking down the street. That's why there's no Moors walking down the street. You're looking out the window. How about go be a Moor? You know that we're not gonna get everybody, so don't even get, flustered because ain't nobody hearing what you're saying. You already know that people are under brainwash. You already know that they're under mental slavery. So don't expect, you run out there, yeah, where are the Moors? And everybody's like, I never heard that before. What do you mean? And then you have a lineup going around the building of people want to know about their birthrights. That ain't happening. Don't worry, we'll get that dream right there out the head. Recognize that our duty is to make sure that the people at least have access to this, because they haven't for so long, right? So we want to make sure they have access to this information if we have it, you know what I mean? Because we know that this is their salvation. We know that if they really want to get out of this, they're gonna get down with their birthright. You know what I mean? Right. Got an email from sis, one of the sisters we've been building, and she got some info with regard to some Trenton, New Jersey prison riots that her family is directly related to. So there's an article, NewYorkTimes.com, 12/6/1975, archives, murder is charged to 20 in Trenton prison attack. So Trenton prison riots in the 70s. My uncle came from England to the USA as a child along with his quote-unquote white mother, quote-unquote black father, and 2 sisters. My uncle, along with other men, were wrongfully convicted in the kidnapping and murder of 3 quote-unquote white teens in the early 70s. 2 teens were killed, but 1 escaped. A nationwide manhunt was issued for him, and my family was immediately under the FBI surveillance. His mom was harassed and threatened at work because her colleagues and employers were unaware that she was married to quote-unquote a black man and had biracial children. My reaching out to my dad for help. Unfortunately, our phones were tapped at the time. My parents were immediately interviewed, followed, and harassed by FBI local police, which is happening right now to me. I now wonder if the fire at the home that I lived in as a child was actually an accident. Long story short, my uncle was eventually apprehended. He always maintained his innocence and claimed that he was set up and railroaded because of his political views. I've read through a lot of his court documents, and yeah, they were set up. Ever since his incarceration, our family has been plagued with mysterious deaths. His sister was diagnosed with MS not too long after his capture. She is now deceased. His father also died under suspicious circumstances. My brother, who was an attorney and who worked on the Supreme Court Board of Ethics, mysteriously died in his sleep while in D.C. for New Year's Eve. It took the coroner almost a month to release his body. They claimed he died of natural causes. I'm not so sure what's so natural about a healthy man who never did drugs and only drank socially die at 35. He is one of several young men in my family who died mysteriously. My uncle was once again in the spotlight during the infamous Trenton, New Jersey prison riots. The riots took place a few days prior to Muhammad Ali's visit to the boxer Hurricane Carter. My uncle and other members of the New World Muslims, an offset of the NOI, who believed that El-Hajj Malik Shabazz was murdered by the NOI, were attacked in retaliation for the murder of James McGregory Shabazz, who was a Muslim leader of the mosque in Newark. My uncle was incarcerated at the time of the murder, but was guilty by association. He was stabbed in the back but survived. I know that the prison guards assisted in his attack. I also found an audio tape made by Farrakhan calling for the death of those involved in Shabazz's death. I've attached a copy of one of his appeals where they have him listed as Dred Scott, along with some paper clippings. Okay, I have attached a copy of one of his appeals where they have him listed as Dred Scott. You have my permission to use this information as an educational tool, but I do ask you discretion, etc., etc. So, now, when we look at this, right? When we look at this and we realize that her family is tied to individuals who were an offshoot of the NOI. They were an offshoot of the NOI that believed that the NOI had something to do with El-Hajj Malik El-Shabazz's death. Now those guys are up on charges and stuff like that, and some of those guys are dead. Doesn't that relay something to you? Doesn't that make a point clear with regard to this liberating information? And also about this age of information that we're in? That nobody can get away. Nobody can pull fast stuff and get away anymore. Because the time right now is about everything being revealed. Hence, revelations that we're living in right now. So, look into that story. So I'm sure that there's some more information relative to that to stress the point, right, of what the attack is on. Remember that they just talking about Muslim guys shot up some club or whatever, but they were crying their eyes out and reading eulogies at the greatest of all time Muslim